Okay. Good afternoon, gents. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Round 4 of the Fox Australian Supercross here in conjunction with the Velo Adelaide 500. We're here this weekend for Boost Mobile Supercross Sprint. A little bit of a different format. Up on the stage we have Brad McAlpine from Empire Kawasaki, CDR Yamaha Monster Energy owner Craig Dack. Then we have Yariv Konski from Honda Racing Australia and Kyle Blunden from the Euro Group, which is KTM and GasGas. Craig, I'll start with you. In terms of this event, it's fantastic for the Fox Australian Supercross to be partnered with Supercars at an event this size, isn't it? 280k over 280,000 people over the period. Great exposure for the sport.
Oh, it's fantastic. It puts us in front of mainstream media. There's a lot of head of corporations, a lot of corporate influence here, commercial influence. So it puts us in front of that. Fantastic environment, you know, it's in a parkland environment, beautiful weather. So there's nothing negative about it. We're here for a few days longer than we're usually at Supercrosses, which is different. But that's all par for the course. But so far, very enjoyable, and I think we're all going to have a good weekend.
On the racing front, Brad McAlpine from Empire Kawasaki. Luke Clout this year has been exceptional for you guys. One of the Aussies really taking it to the Americans this one. What do you think it's going to take to win the actual championship, the whole championship there?
Well, I mean, I think it's just consistent racing. I mean, we sort of had a bad one last round, which sort of took a few points off us. So we've just got to put together that extra bit of care in those. Well, this weekend, 4 races, so that's what we're doing.
Kyle Blunden, the Euro Group. In terms of your investment and the Euro Group's investment this year, the development path we're seeing now with 85s into SX3, it really does lean itself to the products that you guys are using, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, from our side, we're very heavily invested in obviously junior racing and you know, obviously from the motocross side all the way through to, you can see the talent in the CR85 Cup and then so on in SX3. So our investment definitely is there from a junior, I suppose, development perspective. And I think you can see that even with our teams. We've got, you know, the youngest teams out, I believe. And yeah, I think we're definitely we're working our way forward, which is great.
Yariv, Honda Racing Australia, you've been a part of the Supercars paddock as well as being a team owner in the Australian Supercross and Motocross series. How do the parallels between the two series?
They're both motorsport. They're very different, but in many ways they're much alike. I think it's one of the things they've got going for them is they're running across 4 days. So that's 4 days of coverage they're providing their partners. That's a great opportunity we get here this weekend. Usually with Supercross, it starts and finishes within 3 hours. So this weekend we have 24 hours to talk to our sponsors, communicate and engage with fans, and compete on the track. So we're literally going to be doing more across the 3 days that we're on track than most parts of the world would do across 10 weekends. So it's fantastic.
Craig, in terms of that, managing the riders, managing the effort and the athletes, as Yariv just said, normally Supercross is over in, let's say, 3-4 hours. Over the course of the next 3 or 4 days, how do you manage your athletes and try and keep everything in check?
Well, we're keeping ourselves busy. We came out here this morning. We had the riders come out at 10 a.m. and there was groups of school kids coming through the pits. So we did a bunch of poster signings with those kids. We took them through tours through the truck. You know, all kids like to go inside trucks for some reason. I don't know why. So we've been doing some other media bits and pieces. Been looking at the track, chatting, bonding, talking to corporate sponsors, doing all that sort of stuff.
I see on your can there, you got there, Brad, your own mineral water. You guys are obviously looking to maximise your corporate exposure here at this event as well.
Yeah, exactly. We're trying to put on a good display here this weekend. I mean, it'd be lovely to meet an up-and-coming sponsor to help us out, not only the remainder of this series, but next year. So we're driving forward to put on a good show.
In terms of your investment this year, Kyle, obviously you got Chad Reed out here and he's riding around on a KTM and 2.2, and young Tate Reed as well. It must be good to have those guys in and around the sport and your truck as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, the Reeds are a global name and they've built a great platform for themselves, and having them as part of the KTM family and, you know, sort of along Tate coming along under the KTM truck has been a great addition for us, and has certainly brought a huge amount of exposure, which is wonderful.
Yariv, in terms of your investment and your time in the sport, I think we can all look around our pits and see the investment. How do you keep it all on the road? You've got, what, 4 SX2 riders, I think the same number of SX1 riders. How do you, A, keep it on the road and B, manage the personalities?
Managing the personalities is the hard part. Everyone wants to win and it's a competitive environment, but Honda's investment into the Australian Supercross Championship is equal to Yamaha, and obviously the KTM group as a whole have got a lot of bikes on track. But the hard part is managing the personalities. We've got some great sponsors this weekend. We've got Quadlock involved in our team. We've got Boost Mobile, who's the presenting sponsor this weekend, which it's fantastic to see them out here. And then we've got Fly and various other partners that help make it happen. But yeah, Honda's investment, they want to win and they're really committed.
In terms of that, Craig, you've done a lot of winning since you've had CDR Yamaha. This Supercross series, the guy next to you, he's brought the heat this year, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's been tough for us so far. We've had a lot of success in 31 years, obviously. We've won something over 50-odd championships in that time. We hung on to trying to keep an all-Australian team for as long as we could. We wanted to keep paying Australian riders for as long as we could, but clearly our motocross program is very, very strong. Motocross is obviously a different beast to Supercross. So we're strong in that, but fairly weak at the moment in Supercross. So we're obviously going to have to look outside the square for next year to try and be competitive with these guys, because at the moment we haven't been competitive. Although Jed Beaton's doing a great job, being a relatively rookie rider in Supercross, and he's building every weekend. So he's going to be a great asset for us moving forward to next year, both motocross and Supercross, but for sure we need to be stronger next year in Supercross than we are this year.
In terms of a track, Brad, looks quite tight. A passing opportunity is going to be maybe some forced passes, or how do you think that one's going to pan out?
Yeah, look, I think it's going to be very important to get a start here, which it is every weekend, but more so this weekend. It's very tight. Hopefully the two Honda boys can sort themselves out early and we can capitalise on some points.
Fantastic. And I guess the last one for you, Kyle, in terms of the event overall, KTM group with 2 trucks here, how do you manage that as well?
To be honest, it's as much the same as Yariv said. It's just managing and the personnel and making sure everybody's aware where they need to be, when they need to be there, and really running a tight schedule, to be honest. But yeah, it's the more information and the more planning that goes in ahead, definitely the better, that's for sure, when you've got this many vehicles on the road.
Fantastic. I might throw this one over to the floor for some questions.
I have a few, actually. First one's for you, Brad. Luke Clout has been in the mix for many years. So close, it seems like. Even, the first couple rounds comes out, wins a race, and the last round goes out, wins a race. But there's always something just a little missing to seal the deal at the end of the night to get that first place trophy and then ultimately battle for a championship. Is there anything you guys are working on, or anything you see from your eyes during the week that you guys have worked on lately?
Look, from our point of view as a team, no, we haven't certainly looked at anything in particular. I know Luke's very, very much looking at himself to try and improve that. We let one slip away the round before, so it's within himself. He's just got to try and get it up and try and be consistent on those 4 back-to-backs.
Yeah. Craig, for you, coming into the season, obviously there's a lot of bench racing going on. You signed Mossy, multi-time champion, so close to winning championships the last couple of years. It seemed like since the first time he was on track, I was there watching round 1, something was amiss. Did something happen pre-season? Is he struggling with anything? Do you know of anything that you can point out?
Don't know. I really didn't know what to expect when we got Mossy. It was sort of circumstantial how it ended up like that. But we felt he was a good choice because the format of the races were sprint races. We knew that he wouldn't be as well done as some of the high-end athletes, like some of the American guys or Clout, as far as fitness, because of his age and his body's pretty wrecked. But being sprint races, we thought, because he's a good starter, we thought he would be in the game. But as you said, he just hasn't fired. We've tried different. It doesn't seem to be anything with the bike that he's complaining about. It seems the number one thing for him is to try and keep the rubber end down. Would be a help.
Yeah, on the opposite side of the spectrum, Jed Beaton, probably not a lot of expectations coming in, but been very impressive so far.
He's been chipping away nicely, and every week after every round, the indication we've had to go stronger and stronger with the suspension on his bike because his speed's getting stronger and stronger. By the end of the night, he becomes on the pace. It takes him a long time to get everything down cleanly, but by the end of the night, he's relatively on the pace thereabouts. So this weekend what do we got? We got 3 sessions tomorrow and a qualifying race. So he's got a lot of time on the track tomorrow. So hopefully he can come into the race day on Friday firing on all cylinders, maybe.
And little shorter races, he's had some good starts, so could benefit him.
Yeah, that's another thing that's hampered him throughout the motocross series is he starts and it's coming over into Supercross. In Brisbane, he was a bit better off the start, but there's something there with the starts that neither him or I or us have identified yet. So hopefully he finds a way through that soon.
Last question for you, Yariv. You guys were talking about personalities earlier. You've got 2 guys going for the SX1 championship. Joey Savacci in the lead by 5 points over Dean Wilson, who's the defending champion. Sprint format, shorter races. In my opinion, Dino's in a must-win situation. We have to look forward to Melbourne. The Lawrence brothers are going to be there. Cooper Webb's going to be there. It's going to be very difficult to win that race and score max points. So I think the points deficit between those 2 are going to be smaller potentially in Melbourne. Have you guys talked about that? Are the gloves off? Or you just kind of let them go? Or you sit them down and say, hey guys, we're teammates. We need to win this for Honda?
I think they have a fair bit of respect for one another. I don't think either of them want to see each other on the ground. They're both parents as well. They've both got children. They're mindful of not getting injured. They're not young. They're both over 30. So they're going to be sensible. But there's 5 points between them. And you're right, Justin, this weekend is really important. Both of them could be racing for 4th, potentially in Melbourne. That's 2 points. So the 3 points this weekend make a huge difference, a massive difference. The 4-race format, you can't afford a mistake. That showed in Wollongong when both of them tied on points and Joey took the overall based on number of firsts. So yeah, I mean, they're going to be going hard. There's 4 points up for grabs for the fastest laps across the races. Those 4 points will attribute to the overall. There won't be an additional 4 points, but those things are going to make a difference as well. I mean, if you finish second on the night on points, but you're fastest in all 4 races, you've won the overall. So yeah, there's a lot going on, a lot to think about, but in terms of gloves off, yeah, we're going to see some pretty competitive racing, particularly the way this track is. It's so tight. There are some 180-degree turns, and that allows for some nice, tight, hard racing. I hope neither of them come down, but yeah, there's certainly no team orders when you're 1 and 2.
Yeah, awesome. Good luck to you guys. I know it's going to be fun for me to call in the booth. It's going to be exciting.
Yariv Konski, you've kind of broken the mould a little bit over the last couple of years with Supercross by having 2 or 3 equally capable contenders in each class under your 10. Can you talk us through the mindset of that as a team owner and maybe some of the challenges that go with it as well?
We have a really high expectation on us. I mean, it gives me more anxiety than I show. Like, every year the anxiety gets, more and more. After winning the last 6 championships in a row in the 450 class, dominating this year's motocross championship with all 4 classes, when we finish seconds, my sponsors are asking me what went wrong. And the reality of it is, in a 5-round Supercross championship, anything can go wrong. It's unpredictable. We saw that at Wollongong when we lost Alex Larwood, Byron Dennis, Reese Budd. Anything can happen so quickly. So I needed contingencies. I needed to make sure that I had us covered and I was supporting our partners who expect us to win, and that's why we've brought such a strong team this year. To be brutally honest, I know Craig was talking to some Americans, and then unfortunately that fell through. That put more pressure on me to be even stronger again. When I knew that Craig, I think there was an interview out there where he said, we're coming after Honda, they've been quite dominant, I felt pressure. I felt a great deal of pressure before Supercross has started, and that's why we've brought the team we've brought, because yeah, I'm always worried about what this guy's going to do. He's right that he's been quite dominant in this sport for a long time, and you know we've really tried to bring our own game in the last decade. I think it's like 18 championships in the last decade, and 5 of them are to do with Brayton, who's here this weekend, and I'm grateful for that. And we obviously want to maintain that. Like I said, the expectations are for us to win, and anything less than that, people have constantly asking us what went wrong.
This one, Brad. With the format changing into these sprint races compared to the Triple Crown we saw at Wollongong or the doubleheader at Redcliffe, how do you approach that bike preparation-wise for the 4 sprint races on Saturday night?
Well, it's pretty much the same. We just make sure that we've just checked everything, just double-check everything. I mean, our bike's pretty solid. We have no faults with that. I'll try not to get a fine this weekend because, you know, got to keep that money for the kids for Christmas, right?
All right, gentlemen, if there's no more questions, we'll wrap this up. Thank you so much, and we look forward to the Boost Mobile Supercross Sprint over the next couple of days here. Thank you.